Okay, today we're going to learn about presidential power, and Jason Miller, advisor to the president, Jason Miller is going to give us a civics lesson so we understand.
So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular.
So he's the only elected individual that's elected by all people. Yeah, that's correct. The people vote for an executive, one person. Okay, I understand that. But what does that one person, what powers does he have? Now listen into this.
The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president.
So here's where this guy goes off the rails. The whole of democracy is invested in this one individual. That sounds like we have a king or a dictator. And I don't think I want that. So let's listen a little further.
That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government.
Appoint staff to impose a democratic will of the people. Isn't that just the will of the president? So he is charged with the powers that he decides what's democratic and what the will of the people is. You know, we have three separate, at least they used to be pretty separate, not quite so much right now, but three separate parts of the government. Well, he's doing this thing where he's saying the executive is the all power of everything. And I would argue that's not true. The Article 2 is not really clear on what the duties of the president are. It does delineate some duties that it's supposed to do, but none of this crap about imbuing the will or something, democratic will of the people. So let's go a little farther on this and see how this goes.
The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers at the Department of Justice say they don't want to change.
Now he starts talking about lifetime bureaucrats. First of all, there ain't nobody elected, there's nobody appointed to any of these positions in these different agencies. We're talking about EPA, SEC, stuff like that. It's not lifetime, guys. They can be changed. Congress can change those. And some of them, the head honcho of each of these is appointed by the president. Now we're saying unelected bureaucrats. I mean, this is a big deal. These guys, unelected bureaucrats. Of course, you got one right there in Doge, Elon Musk. He's an unelected bureaucrat too. So this is one of the things they like to talk about, is these unelected bureaucrats are doing all these things. Let me just talk a little bit about why we put these people in where we put them. When Congress authorized these agencies, and Congress does authorize these agencies, the president does not. The president proposes, Congress disposes. They appoint people to do certain jobs. Some of them are supervisory, some of them in the field, all sorts of regulatory things. And now Congress has authorized regulatory so that they can put in rules. Well, let's take the SEC. I don't know nothing about them. Security and Exchange Commission. I don't know anything about it. Yet I could be elected to Congress right now. Fat chance, but I could. You know, I could be put in there if idiots were idiotic enough to vote for me. How would I make decisions there? I don't even know how stocks work hardly. I'm the worst stock trader there ever was. So there's all these regulations, and they're changing all the time to try to keep up with the thieves. There are many thieves. Most of the good thieves are high up in the government or in business. You put someone in there that does know what he's doing. And he comes up and he says, we need to make some changes. We need some regulatory reform. And what he can do is go to Congress and testify and tell them what he needs. And sometimes they do. Sometimes that does work out. But Congress, for the most part, because it takes Congress forever to do anything, they say, look, go ahead, manage this, take care of the minutia of this thing so that the regulations are responsive and do what they're supposed to do. If you go too far, we will call you before Congress and decide whether we're going to let you do that or not. Those unelected bureaucrats are not lifetime. They do not have all this power that he thinks he has, that he thinks they do. Okay, let's go a little further on this thing.
What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
So Trump is removing these bureaucrats because they are stopping him from implementing, the will of the people. Okay. Isn't that putting a lot of power in one man's hands? Now, he's gotten away with it so far. USAID. He didn't establish that thing. He shouldn't be able to stop it. The ones that would take away your freedoms and your democracy will tell you every day they are protecting democracy. They will wave the flag, they will be nationalists as heck, and they'll tell you all the wonderful things they're doing for you while they take away the freedoms you have. We put those agencies in for a reason. USAID. We did not want to fight more wars. We could avoid a lot of those wars with the soft power that the USAID gives us. SEC. We could, I don't know what he's going to do to the SEC. Elon Musk has had real problems with the SEC, so he's probably going to try to pull their teeth. Very smart people go around the SEC. And they've been doing it forever, and the SEC is trying to catch up with them all the time. He'll probably go after NHTSA too, because his Tesla cars sometimes clash with some of the NHTSA regulations, especially the FSD. He's going to destroy all these agencies that could mess with him, because they were given a mandate by Congress. Congress is oversight, Congress is the one that's supposed to be telling the president where he's got to get off. Anyway, that's Jason Miller. Probably one of the worst. And he was in the last Trump administration, and he's in this one, and he's got way more power than he had before. That's it on this one.